Oh, hello. So today I wanted to do something a bit different for this video, and I wanted to do some game design stuff. So I wanted to go over what I like to do for when I design characters and stuff for games. So today I wanted to try and make a special infected for Left 4 Dead 2. Mainly because I've been playing that a lot lately, and I think it would be interesting to try and challenge myself to think of something to kind of fit in the already pretty well-rounded roster of that game. It's a very tightly designed game, so it'd be interesting. I think a good challenge to try and show off what my process is for designing stuff like this for games. So I guess the first step is, what would be the theme for our new special infected? And I was thinking, I saw something interesting about the stonefish, because stonefish has a very interesting poison to it, and that got me thinking, what if you had an infected that had some kind of poison to it, not like the acid from the spitter, but more something that could affect the survivors over time, and also have that just kind of within the design of our special infected here. Also, when I think about affecting the survivors over time, that also makes me think that maybe this kind of infected should probably be a boss infected, more like the witch, because you do have things like the boomer that will have the bile that will act for a few seconds. I think about 10-15 seconds. But I was thinking maybe something more something interesting that it would put them, maybe affect them where after they got stung or hit by the poison, then it would affect them later, maybe not over time, but more later in the mission or in the level, to where it has that would, I think, would help make it stand out, to where it's the effects of the, I guess, this stonefish infected would happen to the whatever survivor that gets hit by it later in the actual level. But as for the actually what it'll do, some ideas for what the poison will actually do to the survivors. I think maybe something. It could be something like damage over time from the sting. Maybe it could be something like, it would have to be something crippling, something that would, again, something that you don't want, something that would cause too much trouble, but definitely something that would cause some kind of trouble down the line, right? It's some deadly sting, and it's going to cause some kind of disruption, because that's what the special infected are meant to do. They're meant to disrupt the survivors. So it could have some type of, when I think of poisons, another good idea for poisons is sleeping, or some kind of paralysis. That's another thing that poisons can do. Is some kind of ailment, maybe dizziness, where it's hard to see or something, or hard to see, or maybe even shoot. So again, some kind of ailment to the survivors from the sting. And I think also from the sting, it should probably be, if it's going to be like the stonefish, where the stonefish kind of has its, okay, and the stonefish would have some kind of poison spike here is usually blue, so maybe we can have that kind of injection, kind of stinger on the hand, because it might be like something enlarged, right? Some kind of enlarged limb or something infecting the survivor to cause them to have this kind of sharp stinger to them. Okay, so now looking at our ideas again, I think we're gonna keep with the idea that they're boss infected, and I think I like the idea that the stinger will have some kind of sleeping or paralysis idea. I think maybe it could knock down, do some kind of knockdown to the survivors, to where they need to be, like picked up after they like pass out. Here's like a survivor on the ground. Like, think about when you just get regularly downed. But now this just happens, and I guess I need to be able to telegraph it as well. So we need to telegraph. There always has to be a telegraph to something like this to let you know. Like, there has to be some kind of warning period. So I think after the sting, let's say there's just like a random time. So amount of time passes. So a random amount of time passes, and then I think the vision should start going blurry. So use the dizziness idea, but vision becomes blurry here. And then after this, then that's when they get to downed. And then during this, and this can happen at any time, we don't have to worry about survivors maybe waiting out when this might happen. We don't have to worry about that much, just because the game already has a penalty for waiting. So the survivors can't just hang out and wait for this to pass. They should actually ideally keep moving, but then they'll have to worry and basically be ready for one of their survivors to go down. I also think it should be, maybe this can detach like a bee sting where it comes off. So that way it can only take down like one survivor, and only they will be affected. That, because otherwise, if let's say you could scratch like 3 out of 4, and then they all start going down, and then they're all like, help, help, and it's like, oh no, I'm surrounded, and then everyone's kind of dead by the end of that. Then we have trouble. So I think keeping it just to one survivor helps solidify this kind of the sting, the poison kind of idea. And then I guess that brings us to actually the design. Now that we have all the gameplay ideas and all our themes and everything, now we can actually get to designing what we want them to look like. And I think what we want to have is a bit of a look from, there's a cut special infected from the Left 4 Dead 2. And I think we can maybe borrow some of the design elements from that, and that was mainly the long hair. Mainly keep the long hair for that. Alright, this is a really rough sketch, but just keep like the long hair and the face. I think we can like, yeah, this is using mouse here, so we can just have something like this. Have them really ugly. Also, I think to lean into the drowsiness, I think we can have like one of their, they can look really droopy. They can have a bit of a like droopy face. Because remember, they're suffering from the infection, so they have whatever this infection stuff is. And then of course they have one of their arms has the, I guess, kind of inflamed. And then they have, let's say, a finger. They have a very sharp finger, and this is their stinger. This is the stinger that they're gonna get you with, right? And then I think also one thing that's important is the silhouette. So all the enemies have very distinct silhouettes. So I think for him, we want his silhouette to kind of be, I think it'll make him a little bit lankier, like the spitter. But I think he should have a bit of a wider kind of body. So, and also have maybe the disproportionate arm. So this keeps the silhouette different from the boomer, who is like only fat. Very, very fat. It's similar, but I think the arms are where it keeps it different enough. And then something like the spitter maybe can be smaller than the spitter, because the spitter is very tall and it's also very lanky and also has a bit of a pop. But here we can probably exaggerate the size of this gut, give them like a beer gut. Maybe the drowsiness is because of alcohol in their life, you know, something like that. And then, so with all this taken care of, then I have this sketch that I made earlier, just kind of give a better idea, because this is pretty ugly. Use pencil. And I guess there you have it. That's kind of how I go about designing, at least for, this is how I go about at least coming up with ideas and making design docs for enemies or characters for games, at least, or even for characters like this VTuber that this model that I made. This is also kind of a similar process that I use to iterate. So like any of these ideas, you can, I mean, I already knew ahead of time what I wanted this to look like, but if you weren't sure, then maybe you could be like, alright, I don't know about this idea, what if it's like only claw hands instead, or maybe we want them to be like missing an arm, like, but I guess that's more like the charger, or like maybe you can have a different silhouette, you know, have something where like, I don't know, he has a really arched back, kind of a side profile here. But yeah, the idea is to iterate and to make sure that you understand at least the simple overarching like ideas. Like here, the stonefish, so that's the spine, and then for making it a boss, so we have it be extra powerful and extra disruptive, again with the poison here causing a down, just like something like the witch would do. And yeah, having all these interesting things to make it different and trying to make it as distinct as possible from the rest of the enemy, so there's not too much overlap. And I think with this idea, I think we did that pretty well. So I hope you guys learned something from this, and you guys can also, when coming up, maybe learn something about when coming up with different ideas, how to get through that process and get to making some kind of design idea, so that way you can have your ideas focused and clear, and it helps with brainstorming different ideas. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you like this, I guess make sure to let me know, and thank you for watching.